Alright guys, so I figured I'd do a little bit of a intro into this video because I actually started. I bought the I bought the 71 450 apparently in April of 2015, and I used it that summer. And I think by the end of the season 2015, the motor was making this squealing noise, and I kind of stopped using it a lot since. I've gone to some shows and stuff, and I've painted the white, and I did all that early on. So apparently, and I'm going back through my videos and figuring out what the heck I was doing. And apparently, in the spring of 2018, I started taking this motor apart, which you'll see the CCKA here in about 2 or 3 clips from now. I was still using the Panasonics yet then. Cameras. So luckily I had the footage on my hard drive of this, and I don't delete footage anymore. I delete it, I move it off the computer onto an external hard drive, and again keep it for later reference and such. But anyhow, I started tearing this motor apart then, just kind of exploring it, and then I remember, because I published that May of 2028, and I'm gonna say May 29th or June 3rd or something like that. I had some excruciating pain going on that year, and it lasted from May 28th until October is about when I got over it. And then I posted some videos of taking the 450 motor apart looking for the squeal, and found out it had bigger issues the end of that year. It was September of 2018, and it is now January 2nd, 3rd, something like that, of 2020, and I'm now finally just got this motor the whole way apart. So now you guys have a little bit of an introduction as to what's going on in these next clips, because obviously I can't go back and redo what I was saying or find the whole clip because I already edited it together. I still have the old cameras. The memory cards may even be in them, but who knows if I can find all the footage or whatever. So anyhow, you guys know what's going on. Let's jump into it here and show you what I'm up to. Oh, hey, the record button's not on that side, it's on the left side. So if you guys can see down in there, the cylinder head and the intake manifold land. That's one CCKA I could take apart and put on the 450 and put the 450 crank in it. Go over to the other building. Or I have this CCKA motor, which is all put together and has all the parts on it over here. And this has an 800 series crank in it. This one here I've actually had running before, and I did a video. I bet you it's been 2 or 3 years ago. I picked this motor up at Point Pleasant. I put it back together. Ran pretty good from what I could tell. It ran alright anyhow. And I've kept it as a spare motor if I blew something up or whatever. The one, my not so good 8163B, I was debating about putting that CCKA on it. But then I picked up this Briggs later on to replace it. So I might keep it the same, I don't know. If the motor ever grenades, I'll do it. Or if I get around to it. But that's the other thing I'm thinking for this 450. Since the 450 motor, it needs machine work. You know, it needs board minimum. So then it'll need new pistons. Then it'll need new rings. And it'd be a total and complete teardown. I'd have to get somebody to bore the block. And as of right now, don't have the money to do that. And I have a gasket set for one of these motors. So that's why I'm thinking I want to put the other motor together. I'll take and put a carb on it. And maybe I'll steal a starter off of this motor. Just put it together and see if it smokes or not. Because if it smokes, then we'll X-nay that one. And we'll go over to this one. But if it doesn't smoke, that would be the better one of the two. Just because I have all the parts off of this motor. I'll just have to paint it yellow instead of orange. But a lot of the stuff switches over, like the tins and the intake manifold and the starter, the flywheel. The only thing I need painted really is the block. Well, block and oil pan, best of my knowledge. So, okay, that's going to be a project I'm going to be thinking about here, because this 450 is it's a pretty nice running 450. It runs nice. The transmission works fine. Framing it is good, best of my knowledge. The only problem is it smokes and uses oil, and it has that cam squeal to it. So, okay, that's a project for next year. Okay, guys. So we're pulling a flywheel on a CCK Onan. These holes actually go the whole way through, and if you tighten these bolts down, this will actually pop the flywheel loose, as I just found out. What I'm into, maybe the stator. Who knows? Watch, I probably just wrecked the stator or something. No, my luck. I don't know if the stator was good on this to start with. I was actually going to tighten the bolts up and then pull you guys out and show you guys pulling this, but since it broke loose with just the bolts. See, where does it hit? Right on the outside of the ring? Yeah. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this. I hope so. Zoom in. I don't know if you guys can see right there is where the bolt went in and touched, and the other side is right here. So that's how you're supposed to remove them CCKA Onan flywheels. They're weird aluminum or pot metal, whatever they are. I'm actually taking this one apart because might as well back you guys out here a little bit. I'm investigating if I can shortcut the cam bearings on the 450 or not, if I just take the cover off and everything, take the fuel pump off. If I can get that to work or not. I'm not 100% sure yet. That's why it's called investigative removal. So I'm going to do that and see what I can figure out. This still has the original voltage regulator on it yet too. Was never upgraded. This is the first one I've ever seen that still has it. This engine was free. It spun over. I have no idea what it looks like, but I'm gonna investigate it on the inside because I have another good running CCKA that come off a 816, 817, or the 8000 equivalent of that. So, okay, let me tear this apart a little bit more and see what I figure out in here. Okay, so really is CCKA, other than the cylinders being a little bit rusty, which you guys can actually see better than I can and everything now. Pistons look almost new in it, especially this side. This side here had a bunch of rust in it. I put some blaster in it and worked it back and forth, and I got it to the point where the motor will turn over the whole way now. It's not too bad now that I cleaned it up some. But not really any cross hatching in there. Looks like some pitting, so I don't know. You can tell it definitely some water got down in the intake, both sides. But motor looks fairly clean inside. I'm really debating about what to do with the 450. Pull that motor the whole way apart, change the cam bearings. Because I think you have to. See, there's a plug right here you can knock out. If I had my valve spring compressor from at work, which I'm gonna get that, and I'm gonna take this apart the whole way another night during the week. I'll get that. So once you take these out and pull the lifters up, then you can slide the cam out, and then you could do the camshaft bearings. I'm pretty sure I could do this with it on the tractor if I take the seat pan off. Even at worse, if you drop something, take the oil pan off. I got all the gaskets for that, so that's what I'm thinking I'm gonna do. The other thing with the 450 I gotta check is when you're mowing with it, a lot of times the low oil pressure light comes on. So I'm wondering if the oil pump isn't weak, because right here is the oil pump, or it could even be the filter is plugged on it or partially plugged or something. And that engine is pretty similar to this, although I noticed there's been some oil pipe hacking going on it. So anyhow, that's the part CCKA owning. I didn't have any other tricks or anything. It's just kind of, like I said, I was exploratory taking it apart. It looks like there's a bunch of water and goo in the bottom of this oil pan, so come on. So that is that. I'm probably going to set this in under the roof here in case it rains, and we'll do that, because if nothing else, it's a really good parts engine, but I think I could put this back together and make it run, because now I have an extra carburetor, the one I bought for the 817. And that was the real, I have another points box, so you could stick that on there. There was one in the 450. So I could get this engine to run. I think I could borrow a coil off the other CCKA, which is in the building to your guys' right, and it'd be enough to hear it run. And the starter, no starter on it. So, alrighty guys, thanks for the installment to see what Steve tears apart, and I'll get back to you guys if I tear this apart a little bit more. So later. Alrighty guys, so I pulled the tore apart CCKA in the shop here, and I have all the parts for it. Like I said, there's the oil pan, intake manifold, the timing gear cover and governor, and fuel pumps there, I'm pretty sure, and cylinder head, but no carb, no starter. I have to take that off another engine, and I do have the flywheel over there, but I need stator. That's the white balance looks so off. I don't know. Stator, starter, carburetor, and it will run. And then once you get it to run, obviously you need the exhaust. So, but I have all that on the 450 motor. So what I think I'm going to do, and it has been my plan all along, is to try and pull the crank out of this. I was trying to figure out how I was going to get the crank gear off, because yesterday I tried heating it up with the torch and putting a screwdriver underneath of it and prying it off, and that wouldn't work. Onan actually makes a special puller to pull this off, but Steve doesn't have one. Story of my life, yep. So what I think I may do is I'm going to pull the connecting rods out, and then I'll take the lower, or the PTO side cap bolts out, and I'll take the bearing enclosure the whole way off, and then I think I'll take and throw this whole motor in a press, and I'll just try pressing the crank out of the gear, see what happens. I guess the worst thing that happens is I fuck up the block, and that's really what I want to save, but because I may do a little bit of heat and pressing is probably what I'll try and do anyhow. So that being said, I'm gonna get this broke down the rest of the way, and I get the connecting rods out and everything. I can run a hone through it, and I can see what size pistons are in it. And I can go back to the 450 video, and I somewhere in there I know I said what size pistons it has. So yeah, because it would be nice to keep that whole rotating assembly together, but kind of, you know, doubtful, because if you because basically you have to keep the rods with the crank, and as long as it doesn't have, like, for some weird reason, 20 thousandths over why can I not think of it? The connecting rod piston pin. Why can I not? I must be getting old. Jeez. As long as the piston pin's not like 10 thousandths over or something weird like that, then we can just switch the rods between the two blocks without any sort of major issue in the crankshafts. So, alright, I'm gonna take this thing the rest of the way apart off camera, and when I go over to the press, try and get this gear off, I'll show you guys what happens. Here we go. Alrighty guys, so I got the pistons out, and everything, as far as the journals and everything, it looks okay. This is the worst of the two. I don't know if you guys can see a little bit of mark there, like lined up with the oil hole to the right of it. I think it's focusing, but that's the worst thing I see on the rod bearings. Other than that, the rod bearings look okay. It look like I have a little bit of like pitting on them, but I don't see anything, nothing crazy. So if I have to reuse the rods or rod bearings, I'll do that. And same down here in the, sorry guys, I gotta wipe this off a little bit. Down here in the crank department, it's just like dirty, what you'd expect from sitting. It's got like dirty rusty oil, and the bores are about the same. It looks worse there because of that, but that's just from the skirt dragging. They're surface rusted is about the best way to explain it. But I think with a hone they would clean up good enough, I think. That side there looks kind of rough, but all I can do is run a hone through it and just see what happens. I'm going to tear this motor down regardless. Whether I put it in the 450 or not, you know, is remain to be seen, but tore it down and see what I have. I've been meaning to tear this motor down. I think I started tearing this motor down like 2 or 3 years ago. There may even be some video of that. If I can find it, I'll post it. If not, oh well. I know I put some on Facebook, but I don't know if I put any on YouTube. So, okay, let me get this bearing and closure plate out. Take out these, what is there? 2, 4, 5 bolts. Take that out, and I'll see. I'm pretty sure I can sit that in my press. I don't know if I'll have enough light for you guys to see, but sit it in my press and see what happens. Here we go. Ooh, well, just the depth in time. I'm just getting ready to say I gotta wait till the heater stops before I can continue. So, we're all set up in the press here. I got a wood block on top of it. I got some backlight going on. I think you guys can see good enough anyhow. Try and do this before the heater kicks back on. Will this work? I don't know. I hope so. I haven't heated this yet. If I have to, I will. Looking to see if I'm in the center of this thing. Yeah, I'm pretty close. For your guys' bet, I think the wood will just splinter, personally. Yeah. I was afraid of there. I think we're gonna have to do it just without the wood, that's all. Nice thing is it doesn't have to go far. I could put a socket in there or something sacrificial. Try it without that. So, here we go. It's going. Now I just gotta watch I don't bottom out. I need my flashlight. Excuse me. Mind you guys. Just watch I don't bottom the crank out on the block. Because I think by the time that's out of there, it'll be good. The crank can't drop the whole way to the ground. It can drop maybe about a half an inch. Hopefully it won't be enough to hurt it. So you guys watch over there and I'll watch over here, okay? It's going. Guess I gotta go about the thickness of the gear. Going pretty easy now. I might have to stop and turn the crank a little bit to get it out. Needs spun. Oops. Like I said, this crank will only come out of here in one position, best of my knowledge. Because the hole in the back of the block is just the size of the crank. So I think I got it. Now we're bottomed out on the blocks I have. There's a chance I can just take a screwdriver and pry that gear up over there now. Oh, the other thing I could do, I can pick the crank up. That's a spacer and do that. Hold on. It's moving pretty easy, I feel like. So let's see if I can do what I want to do here. Pick it back up. Oops. I have to drop the crank, Steve. Wait a second. A little bit dirty. I was changing tires with this screwdriver. Okay, so now, yep, there it is. Special tool, my ass. Got it. The other catch-22 to this is when I go to stand it up, the crank's going to fall out. That's going to be a sucky part. And do I have to take the keyway out in order to get the crank out? No. No, because that's not the bearing surface it rides on. It's next down to the gear. So, step one. Oh, stupid rubber hose. Oh, stupid Steve for setting the gear there. Okay, let me see what you guys can see first. Nothing. So now, put that to the side. There be one CCK crank removal. Nice. Throw this up on the bench and we'll look at it. That and the block. Need the special tool to pull the gear. My ass. Figured I'd warn you guys, the first video with the new camera is tearing a motor apart. Already oily and greasy. Nice. Anyhow, I got the crank pulled out of here. I don't see anything. I guess I'll spit shine it. Basically, this is just telltale what the block bearings look like. Nothing I can catch my finger on. What's the rear bearing look like? Looks okay. Looks okay to me. All you can do is throw it in there, and if you start losing a lot of oil pressure, you know what? The bushings are worn compared to the crank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get the hone out, and I'm going to run a hone through these cylinders and just see what they clean up like. But you can see in the bottom there's still a crosshatch pattern. That one, how does this one look? Where you at? Where you at? Looks like about the same thing going on over there. So yeah, I'll get my drill and hone out here. I'll run through here and just see what it looks like. Because basically, trying to find a good block, and didn't realize you guys were zoomed in. I'm sorry. Find a good block, and one doesn't need cam bearings changed. Heater's kicking on. So I caught it shutting off and kicking on now. Nice. Alright. So yeah. Get the hone out, see what it looks like. And that's probably going to be it for part one, because obviously I don't have the 450 over here yet. You guys can see. It's supposed to be a lot warmer later, so I'll wait till then. Crank the 450 up and drive it over. I hate to tear apart a running motor, but what are you going to do? If it's a running motor, it's got problems, you got to, right? Right. So guys, I don't know if I'm going to be able to save this block or not without some machine work. I think you guys can see the pits and stuff in there, and I can actually catch my fingers on those pits. Let's see if I can get the light to stay back where it was. Not fall. See, I can catch my fingernail on those, but this line over here, not so much. I can't catch my finger on it. But the rust pits I can, so I don't know what I'm going to do here exactly. They're already 30 over. I don't know if I showed that or not, but 0.03 and the zeros there, but it's kind of worn or faded off. I haven't cleaned these pistons up any. Excuse me. But I almost wonder if this motor, if they put new pistons in it and rings, and then after that it sat. And maybe it sat because it had this going on. You know, I don't know. But it's where I'm at. I'd love to if I had a machine shop I trusted that just well, let's see. I don't know anything about this block. For all I know, this cam could make more darn noise than the 450 one. Doesn't seem like it, but because the 450 was using oil too, is the main reason I was going to rebuild another one. So, do I just X-nay this block and go with that other red block? Would have loved to use this block just to keep it from sitting around, but what are you gonna do? So, alright guys, guess I'm gonna have to think for a little while and see what direction I'm gonna go in here. So, thanks for watching. Catch everybody in the next one. Later. If I had money for machine work, this would not be a problem. Don't have money for machine work.